The moon is in Capricorn. It's a full moon in Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn rising with Mars in Capricorn in my first house. And I'm intimidating myself right now. Trying to film this damn video is hilarious. I'm like, the Capricorn shit right now is just too much. I'm like, I can't even. Like, I intimidated the shit out of myself. I went and watched the video that I made 6 months ago for the new moon in Capricorn. And now I'm like, I have stage fright to get up as a following act to myself. What the fuck? That if that isn't some Capricorn shit, I don't know what it is. Oh my God. Okay. That being said, happy full moon in Capricorn, and welcome to a collective reading, a collective rune reading for healing. Thank you for being here. I hope you are well. I hope this full moon in Capricorn is treating you well. And yeah, thanks for being here. My name is Petra, and I am about 6 months into this YouTube thing. And I'm really enjoying growing on this channel with you all. So thank you to all my subscribers. I'm going to consult the runes. We're going to ask what healing looks like for the next lunar cycle, the next month, and the next 6 months up until Capricorn season. And then I'm going to take the runes and I'm going to combine them into a composite symbol, a sigil for calling in healing. We call this a Bindrune, when you combine multiple different runes and you put them together. So I got my pen and my paper, and I got my rune stones, and we're gonna take a dive into what does healing look like. This is not a prediction, not trying to tell you anything about what's going to happen in the next 6 months. I'm looking for a tool, and I use these bind runes that I create. I put them on the wall over my medicine making area to help me, guide my healing practice, guide the things that I'm doing with a principle of what healing actually means. So this is a tool. This is a tool for creating healing in your life. And I offer it to all those who need it. I hope it finds those who need it, who can use it. Whether you work with runes or if you're just a human being on this planet we call Earth, moving through and healing, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not, releasing and constantly changing and constantly transforming, if you're not moving, you're not doing anything while you're here, right? So we're all healing. We're all in the process of releasing and receiving so that we can continue moving through in our bodies, in our vessels. And I'm asking the runes tonight, what principles are we being asked to heal in the next lunar cycle? What does healing look like? What are we being offered the opportunity to heal? How can we move through these next transits in a way that brings in healing for ourselves and for those around us and for this planetary body as a whole? What does healing look like for this full moon in Capricorn? That's a lot. That's a lot of different runes. But what's standing out to me, a lot have popped up facing me. But what's standing out is the 3 that have popped up facing the camera. Should I take those ones instead? Because there's just 3. That's so funny. From this perspective, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runes that came face up. But from the perspective of the camera, it's just these 3. That isn't a metaphor. That isn't a metaphor for perspective, right? Depending on which side you're looking from, the same thing means something completely different. I'm going to take these 3. I like these 3. The sun, so willow. Gebo, crossroads, breath, choice, and Thurizaz, the thorn. The storm, the journey. This is interesting because these are runes that I've gotten in the last 6 months repeatedly. All of the ones that have shown up facing me and facing the camera. It's kind of like a summing up of the last 6 months of rune readings that I've been doing here on this channel. I think every single one of these has showed up more than once. And this is just very fiery. The sun and the thorn. Sunlight, light, and power, protection, sharpness, cutting, removing. And in the middle, it was standing upright too, right? This crossroads. This is definitely a wrapping up of the last 6 months. Like a big culmination of the last 6 months. Like, that's true for every lunar cycle, right? Like every time I do these readings, I'm like, oh, this applies to the next 6 months. But there's something about the chunk of time that has passed from Capricorn season 6 months ago to this Cancer season. And if you think about it, Capricorn and Cancer, that's really the beginning and the ending of the year, like the actual year cycle, right? That we just had the summer solstice, the height of the sun when Cancer season starts. And then when Capricorn season starts, that's when the sun is, lowest here, at least in the northern hemisphere, right? You have these 2 extreme poles. It's not the equinoxes that are equal, it's these poles, drastic polarities. Capricorn and Cancer season, summer solstice, winter solstice. It really is the beginning of the year, Capricorn season. And this is the height of the year, if you think about that solar cycle. And it's interesting because it's a measure of the sun, right? When the sun is at its lowest and its highest. But Capricorn season is associated with Saturn. And Cancer season is associated with the moon. And right now we have the moon in Capricorn. So we have this interaction between the moon and Saturn. And those are the real timekeepers, right? Father time is Saturn. That's that 30-year cycle. And the moon, I remember taking a physics class in college, and I remember the professor saying, in physics, the moon is actually the most reliable keeper of time. It has the most regular cycle. The sun, it's actually different. Like the amount of time that it takes for the Earth to go around the sun, our solar return, is different every year by like a lot, like minutes. It varies every year. There's these variations in how long it takes to go around. But the moon is so regular, and what makes it so regular, it's locked orbit, right? It has this orbit where it makes one revolution, it goes around once, every time it goes around us. So it's the same face is always facing us, right? It's this reflection, it's a direct reflection, and it has that keeps it in a very regular. It also has a lot of gravitational pull, right? It moves the tides. It's a large moon, as far as moons go, and like in ratio to the size of this planet, and it has this very regular locked rotation. It's the same every time. It's a very good timekeeper because it's so regular, because it moves in such a tight circle, because it has such a strong gravitational pull. It's kind of like, it's not just rotating around us, we're also kind of rotating around it a little bit. Like the moon exerts quite a bit of pull on the Earth. They're in this rotation together. And Saturn is considered this keeper of time, this keeper of karma, right? These longer cycles, like when things come back around, it's this really, really tight, the moon has this really tight orbit, and Saturn has this really long, it reaches really far into the future, and then it reaches far back into the past, and then flings into the future, kind of like if you look at 30-year cycles, right? That's how long it really takes something to play out. Think about humans, development, right? Like 30 years, that's when you become a master of that. That's when you move on to the next phase, right? That's when you've reached the highest you can reach, so you move on to the next cycle of your life. It's also like literally moves farther. It also has this pull on the sun in a way that not other planets have. It's really big, like compared to the Earth, compared to Mars or Mercury or any of these inner planets. These outer planets are like big. They have a lot of gravity too, so they have this pull on the sun. It's not just the sun pulling on it. It has weight to it, and in impact and effect. And so when it moves, it affects the whole solar system more than like when one of the smaller planets does. I'm getting all into these like timekeepers just because that was like literally an overview of all the runes that I've pulled for the last 6 months. It really does feel like this is a fresh start. A fresh, clean, a new page being turned over. Choice, crossroads, the threshold. When things change direction. When you're going one way and then you are now going the other way. It is change. Breath. That Gemini principle of your surroundings, right? Experience, being in the present moment. X marks the spot. It's like, and this has been such a present, this rune has been all up in the runes readings that I've been doing. it has been a theme of the last 6 months that I've done these readings. Choice, exercising the power of choice, right? Paying attention and listening, and like breath, when we take a breath in, we're constantly taking a breath in and taking a breath out, and that's how we move from moment to moment. Every moment is a choice. This really makes me think of the Lover's card in tarot. It's this meeting. The present moment is the only thing that's real. You've got your past, you've got your future, you've got your, your options. You could go this way and you could go that way. And every step you take, you're presented with more options. This is about freedom, like actual freedom, like knowing that you always have a choice, that you always are directing your life, like choosing how you move through it. This is a lot. This rune, like the new moon in Gemini altar that I did was all about this concept. The principle of choice and how that's associated with the breath, thresholds, change, the ability to change, the ability to be free will, exercising, you always have the right to choose something. You always have the right to choose which direction you're looking. You always have a right to, you always have that power. You always have the power of choice. It trumps everything. Personal choice. Like nothing is real but the present moment, and you always have the ability to choose. Yeah, this has been the theme. This has been the theme of the last 6 months. A changing of directions, right? Like that going down to the crossroads to make, that's where you make a petition to open doors. That's where you make a petition to change the way things are going, is the crossroads, right? Working with breath, that's also how you change. There's that link between the breath and the crossroads. It's the last 6 months has been this threshold moment. It's been a moment of change. It's been a moment of a time period where everybody has had to be really in the present. Nobody knows what's coming next, right? Nobody knows what to do next. We're all finding ourselves at a crossroads moments. Which way do I go, right? This way is suddenly open to me. This way is suddenly open to me. How do you navigate that space of change, of a transition, of going from one direction to another, being rerouted, right? We've all been going through that. It's been a 6-month process of changing direction. Like a lot of people, everybody's had to figure out how to change something, right? We've all been figuring out, and it has that thing of like, well, what do I do next, right? And that's what I mean. People's breath, or the human body and breath and staying present, right? It's like, that's what, when people get freaked out about, oh, what do I do next? Which way do I go? You tap into your breath, right? That's how you bring yourself back into the present moment so that you can think clearly and look down all those roads and it's that real like Mercury, Gemini, like sort of mental, the dark side of Gemini can be that, which way do I go, right? Anxiety, stress, mental confusion, like going in all the directions at once. And it can be a dangerous rune. It can be a dangerous concept, the crossroads, right? That's where things are up in the air. When you're in mid-transition, when you're changing directions, like if you're changing lanes on the freeway, if you come to an intersection, that's where accidents happen, right? At intersections. They don't happen when everybody's staying in their lane and going on the same direction. It happens when you cross paths. When your path changes, when you step from one space to another space, when you go from inside to outside, right? The threshold is like that moment is really critical to be present in. And there's the breath. That's how we get there, right? That's how you get somebody's spinning out and having a panic attack, looking down all of these different directions at once, or getting stuck in that. They always say that, like, don't stay at the crossroads too long. That's when the devil can come convince you and confuse you and use words and it's like that's when you can get confused. That's when you can, if you're trying to go in all these directions. So that's why I keep coming back to this breath. That's our tool for staying present in the moment. That's our tool for working with this kind of energy, the crossroads energy, the threshold energy. It's staying present. It's like if you go, think about it, if you go out of your house, if you're exiting, if you're going from your inside space, or let's say you're going out of, your yard and you're exiting your property and you're going out into the world, out into the street or the road, and you cross that moment when you open the door, when you first open the door, you're going to take a pause, right? You're probably going to look out into what's out there before you step into it, right? That's about being present. If you're on the phone and you're talking to this person and you're looking in this direction and you walk out into the street, whose fault is that? If you bump into something or there's somebody there you didn't want to see, or there's something happens, it's like if you're walking out the door, you better be present, right? Or you, again, open yourself up. It's a very dangerous situation to be in if you're not being present, if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking both ways. This has been the last 6 months. This threshold moment where we've been in unknown territory. That's what the reading I did 6 months ago that just intimidated me was about. The Capricorn new moon gave us these runes about the unknown territory and how much abundance there is when you step out of your known territory, when you go out into the big wide world that you haven't experienced yet, right? It's like when you step past the map, when you step past what people are able to have seen before, there's no roadmap. Like that's what the reading 6 months ago was talking about, being in the dark, navigating through the dark. And look how light this is 6 months later. The thorn and the sun. These are the most fiery runes possible. It's like Aries fire and Leo fire. Mars fire and the sun fire. Very warm, bright. Like this reading 6 months ago was stepping into the darkness. And how do you navigate through something that you haven't perceived? You have no idea what's there. it was the dark. It was with the rune pair throw, which is the dark, the unknown. And here we're on the threshold. This is this threshold moment. This is having power, right? Having choice available to you. It is a dangerous position to be at the threshold, but it's also very powerful. It means that you have the option. You have different directions you could go. You have choice available to you. And this is like, choose your brightest, most passionate, most shiny, brilliant, like the sun and the thorn. That is so, bright fire, like moving forward, pushing forward and radiating outward. Very externalizing. These are very taking up a lot of space. These two runes. This is taking up a lot of space with your fire, with your passion, with joy. And it's like putting that force behind your joy, projecting, like, very unapologetic, very just like, if it doesn't make me happy, I can't even see it, right? If it's not moving, if it's not pushing my joy forward, it's not even on the map. There's like, this feels like a very abundant options. Like, you have options. You have a responsibility, right, to choose the flames, to choose the things that set your heart on fire, that get you going. This is about choosing your light, choosing to fuel your fire, choosing what makes you happy, your inner spark, your inner guidance, your inner solar system. We are all the center of our own solar system. We are all our own guiding light. We're all the center point of all the things orbiting around us, right? And I think it was, what was it, Taurus season? Yeah, it was the Scorpio full moon that it was this rune, Gebo, the crossroads, choice, and it was earth and water. It was the ox and the river. It was choosing life, choosing what feeds you and nourishes you. And here, this is like, okay, that was choosing to feed yourself and nourish yourself and build yourself up and grow your garden, right? Choosing where there is nourishment. And this is choosing to follow your light. Choose what feeds, what fuels your fire, what gets you going, like the passion, the believing in yourself. Like, this is putting power behind what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what makes you feel your truest, sort of purest, childlike version of yourself, your fire. Exercising the power of choice to honor your light, to let it shine brighter. Choose what what fuels your light, what powers your expression, what pushes you to be bigger and take up more space and be brighter. And it's like whatever pathway is the brightest or allows you to be your brightest self, make that choice. Go in that direction. It's just such a simple combination of runes. Like these three, it's fire and air. It's choosing the direction that allows you to expand your passion. It's following your passion. It feels very simple, but it's this like composite meaning with it's referencing all the other rune spreads that I've done, rune readings that I've done. It's like referencing all these different, the last 6 months, these different like aspects of change, right? Different aspects of going out into the unknown and being at a threshold, being at a point where the direction in path opens up. Like there's just been many different aspects to that coming through the runes for the past 6 months. And here's this very clear, it feels just very, there's one interpretation of these 3 runes. I don't know how else to read them. Like there's no like, oh, this way that you could apply it, or what it, it's not complex, it's simple. It's like choose to follow your inner light. Go in that direction. When you come to a crossroads, right? This is the theme, a theme. These two together, too, the power of choice and exercising active willpower when you like actively making the choice, not letting the choice be made for you, right? Really, when you reach the crossroads, exercising your power to choose. That's what makes it dangerous. That's when you get in. That's when you can get really confused. If you come to the crossroads and that's when you can get in an accident. That when you get to the intersection and you're like, oh, I don't know which way to go, and you hesitate and you're like, oh, I was gonna go this way, but maybe I should go that way. That's confusing, right? That's how you cause an accident. That will confuse all the other people around you and cause collision, right? You have to be sure of yourself. You have to choose a direction and then go in that direction. It's like taking action, taking clear, decisive action in a particular direction when you're in this spot. These two have shown up together. I can't remember which ones, but multiple of the runes readings I've done over the last 6 months. And this one too, this one has showed up with them as well. And it's like kind of a blaring, like I said what I fucking said. Like choose wisely, choose actively, and choose to shine brightly. Choose your fire. Choose what stokes your fire and builds it up and fuels it and gives it more power and more brilliance and more expression and more. So this is the crossroads with the thorn pointing at the spot, the sweet spot, right? That center point, being in the present, staying centered. How can we get the sunlight in here? It's a little weird. I don't even know if I want a thorn like that. Let's just... Oh, that's weird. It does, oh, that's really interesting. It creates two thorns facing this way and that way. Choice. What if we start with the sun? Right? Because this is what we're choosing. This is the direction we're going in. So Willow. No, that's stupid. So Willow. Booty size. That looks weird. Why does that look so weird to me? That's strange. I don't know about that one. No, I think it has to be this in the center. Like, we're centered on the present moment. We're breathing. We're here. We're in the present moment. We're at the crossroads. We have multiple directions open. So how do we incorporate choosing to shine? Maybe. I'm getting high from the Sharpie. Okay. We're at the crossroads, and maybe it's like the opposite. Maybe this feels like this. I'm doing this wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's better somehow. I don't know, I like the triangles pointing up and down better than side to side. But this doesn't match up. Those angles don't match up with the sun. What if I connect them like this? Ooh. That's interesting. Let me do that bigger. Okay, here's the crossroads. Here's taking action. In the present moment. Moving forward, making a move. And it's honoring the making a move towards this. Oh, yeah, see? Ooh, I like that. Oh my God, and then look. There's two triangles. There's two more triangles that show up. So I put the crossroads here. I put Thurisaz here, the thorn pointing at the crossroads. And then I put Sisowilo here, the sun. Make that more obvious. And it creates two more triangles. This one's facing up and that one's facing down. Oh my God, I love it. Yes. This is so perfect. It creates this mirror image. Right? Like this triangle is pointing at this triangle and that triangle is pointing at that triangle. Wow, I love it. Choosing yourself, right? Choosing your inner light. Taking action towards your direction, following your inner compass, following your sun, your that is so cool. I really love combining these. They always teach me something different about the meaning of the rune. Like, this makes so much sense why this is the sun. See how it's this angle? It's like light coming down and meeting with something that it can bounce off of, right? A surface. An angle coming down and hitting a surface and reflecting. It's like a lightning bolt going down, hitting the ground and going into the ground. How lightning always is trying to find a pathway back down to the earth. Or electricity, right when it jumps, like if you see a shock. If you ever seen, like the lights are out and you shock somebody and you see that spark, that's that friction, right, of light hitting matter. Light hitting electricity, heat hitting a surface and being changed, reflecting back, jumping, making this bolt, this jolt. This looks like some kind of electrical device. This is so fascinating. Because these are sources of power. The thorns, they're literally force. They're like iron. It's like putting two magnets or two forces. And that spark being generated between them. It's speaking to me about how like the heart, right? It's associated with Mars and the sun. It's kind of like this physical expression. It's your energy meeting your body. It's your energy meeting your physical world. It's pushing, you push back on that. Your heart, every time your heart beats, it's literally expressing this heat, this inner light. It's generating, this is a generator. Yeah, I'm going to be staring at this all night and learning more about it. And I will post it on my blog along with any more interpretations that come up. I don't know, this feels like my favorite thing ever. I'm just going to make wallpaper or some shit with this on it. Go out and draw this on the sidewalk and shit. Yeah, this is like come into yourself, come into your body, bring yourself into your body, bring yourself into the present moment. Like, this is a sigil for generating that impact of your inner spark on your material surroundings, right? In using that as your guiding compass, as what's powering you, what's moving you forward. Your guiding light. This is a guiding inner compass. This is following your inner light, making choices based on your center point, your origin point, your this is like hot wiring a car or something, right? It's like getting that spark, getting the whole thing going, generating a electrical charge that comes from the inside to the out, that has an impact from the center point outward. Right? It's like these two triangles came together and created these two triangles. Okay. I'm just laughing at myself because I keep like staring at it and just seeing it. Like, I could go on and on about this all night, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'll put any more thoughts on the blog post. Yeah, let me know how your full moon is going, and how you're moving through and finding healing. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. And thank you for being with me here tonight for this collective reading. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I wish you protection if you want it. Send you protection if you want it. And yeah, be well.